Guys, every man needs a leather jacket, and our show sponsor, The Jacket Maker, is the only place you need to look. Their extensive, ready-to-wear range has over 350 leather jackets ready to ship. And trust me, you'll find exactly what you're looking for. You can even opt for their made-to-measure service for only an extra $30 to make sure it's the perfect fit. Each piece is made from only the finest quality materials. They use only premium, full-grain, natural leather with YKK zippers and accessories. The Jacket Maker's construction is second to none. Unlike mass chain production, each piece is handmade by a single experienced craftsman with precision and attention to detail. Since the Jacket Maker only sells direct, their products come at a quarter the price of what luxury brands would sell them for. If you're looking for something a little different this winter, the Jacket Maker has a bespoke service where they'll custom make your dream jacket. Step up your jacket game today and save 10% with code CHAEL10 only at thejacketmaker.com. Or just click on the link below. Kamaru Usman was doing an interview. Kamaru got asked about George St-Pierre. Now, if there's any topic that I want to exist in MMA, it's Usman versus St-Pierre for a number of reasons, all of them evil. The number one reason I want this topic to exist is there's no way to prove it, which is going to infuriate everybody. Do you remember the old expression? Certainly you've heard this somewhere in your life. If a tree falls in the woods and nobody hears it makes a sound, does it make a sound? You know that old expression? You've heard that a million times. My father said yes. Now, obviously the tree makes a sound. I apologize. My father said no. No, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody hears it, does it make a noise? That's how that goes. And my father said no. That's ridiculous. Of course it makes a noise. It makes a big crashing noise. As a matter of fact, it makes the exact same noise as if somebody was there to hear it. But you can't prove it. You can't prove it, and that's the riddle. And my father took an evil pleasure in telling people, no, it doesn't make a noise. That's what I enjoy about St-Pierre versus Kamaru Usman. We will never know. The same people to argue this are the same jerks that sit around and argue the different possible integers as to why Batman could beat Superman, but it's fun. I will take the side of St-Pierre. Everybody has to take a side. You can't enjoy a conversation. You can't be part of something, right? The hardest parts of hell are reserved for people who in times of chaos did nothing. Pick a side or step aside. I'll go with George. Now, I'm also going to do that just to infuriate people because I know George is never getting in the ring with Kamaru. And poor Kamaru, what a terrible spot. Kamaru is the greatest fighter in the world today, not only in his weight class, pound for pound. Not only is that officially what he has been ranked by the people that do the rankings, there is not one fighter that includes Izzy Adesanya, that includes Aljo Sterling, that includes Francis Ngannou, that includes Ciryl Gane, that includes Volkanovski, that includes Amanda, that includes the Bullet. Nobody disagrees with that. Everybody has stood back and said Kamaru is the best of all of us. So imagine being in Kamaru's spot and some jerk like me comes out and says, yeah, well, that's only because George isn't in there. And then you can't prove it. Between the two of them, Kamaru will get in the ring. Between the two of them, George will not get into the ring. Now, in a normal set of circumstances, that would be point for Usman, but they're in different eras and George is retired, and therefore George doesn't have to do it, which is why the argument is so fun. It's why it is so great. And Usman, when he was doing this interview, was very honest. Honesty has always served Usman. It's the one thing that no fighter ever tries. Fighters, they think they have to jab all the time. They think they have to fight back. They think they have to, your mama's so fat jokes all the time. Sometimes be a real guy, which is what Usman does. I have never liked Usman more, and I love him after this interview. Listen to what he said. He got asked about St-Pierre. Listen to what he said. He said, George St-Pierre is the ghost that haunts the entire division. Wow. Yes, he is. That is a very accurate statement. It's also not fighting words. It's also what helps to diffuse the narrative that I wish existed of St-Pierre versus Kamaru. I like it. When it was St-Pierre and Khabib, I liked it. Again, I took St-Pierre's side, but I had plenty of arguments out there. I had plenty of people saying it was Khabib, and these guys would have stepped in the ring, and St-Pierre was bigger, and I had that on my side. And St-Pierre was a two-time champion, and I had that on my side, but Khabib had never lost a round and had more 10-8s than anybody. It was a very fun debate, but imagine being Usman. You were recognized as the best, not only in your division, period. There is nobody alive, 6 billion men on earth, and all the people that do this sport, nobody does it better than you. What an honor. And then you get some prick like Chael, who's going to say, yeah, but that's only because George stayed in Mantra. I mean, do you see where the problem comes? So it's best if you are just let it go. Don't ever let this get off the ground. Let it go. And that is what complimenting George and admitting that he is the ghost that hangs over the whole division. It's where it's very appropriate. And then Kamaru furthered this thought. Kamaru furthered the thought and said, it doesn't exist anymore. Now, his reasoning for that, he said when T. Wood was champion, everybody knew the real champ is George. When Lawler was champion, when Hendricks was champion, everybody knew who the real man was. It was George. But enough time has passed, and George has become of the age and inactive enough that it's not something I have to deal with. Now, I can't disagree with anything Kamaru said. In fact, it's just the opposite. I think Kamaru hit it out of the park. I just don't want it to be true. I want Kamaru to have this argument. I want George to do an interview. I want George to play with Kamaru the same way that he did with Khabib. To have the topic, to have it exist, to have people like us out here fighting and debating, even if it's a match that we're never going to get to see. I just think it's fun. I think it's a hot topic. And then all of a sudden we're going to see training footage come out of St-Pierre working the mitts and St-Pierre hitting a flip in the gym and St-Pierre saying, yeah, I might be 40, but look at me now. And then you're going to have, it's fun. You got to have these things. But it doesn't mean it's fair. It's not fair to Usman, who is the best for sure doing the sport. He is the best licensed fighter, unarmed combatant in the world, for sure. Not a maybe. He got the belt. Of course he is. He just sold out Madison Square. Of course he is. But what if George got a license? Right? I mean, how many people can have a ghost over the division? It's not fair. Look at what Jan Blachowicz. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm saying it's fun. You gotta understand my F's here. Look at this, and this has happened historically. Look at Jan Blachowicz. Very tough spot. Best in the world, taking on the absolute hardest fights. Some fights that he wasn't even supposed to win. I mean, he was supposed to do the job. He was supposed to put Adesanya over. Hard fights. But he's the champion of a division that Jon Jones walked away from. So he's got to live in that same shadow. Well, yes, you're the champion for now. You are a place filler, but as soon as daddy comes home, right, it's one of those things. And that was Usman's point. Usman's just saying it's been enough time. I'm asking you if he's right. Because it seems very reasonably what Kamaru said. And I think that my entire premise, which is, I wish that debate exists, but it doesn't, I think that that proves Kamaru's point. I wish, for evil reasons, for purely the agitator in me, and I find myself to be a professional, an expert agitator. It doesn't exist, and I would like it to, which I think, again, strengthens Usman's point, which is I don't have to live with this. I have other guys I got to deal with. Has Leon come far enough? Is Colby going to make it back? Vincent Luque matter? How far is Chimaev going to go? I don't have to deal with what would happen with George St-Pierre. And I will tell you on a personal note, let me stick my nose into this business. I tried to get that match. Submission underground. Submission, and I'm at a different point in my career. I'm trying to be a promoter now, but I have to use that word. I'm trying. Right now, I'm a wannabe. I got something in the grappling world that's hot, but you haven't made it as a promoter unless you have something you can go promote in other platforms. If I didn't have you guys, I would have nothing. I have nobody else to listen to me about Submission Underground. I've been on the phone with Jim Rome. Oh, yeah, Chael, you want to come on? We'd love to have you. Yeah, I got to talk about Submission Underground. No, you can't bring that up. Well, why not? Well, not enough people know what it is. Come on the show, have some. Okay, I got to go, Jim. Hey, Lebitard, it's Chael. Hey, Chael, how you doing? Hey, I'd like to come on. I'm going to talk about Submission Underground. No, Chael, I can't talk about that. Not enough people know what it is. If I didn't have you guys, I can't do anything. And I want that to change. And the reason I say this is I had that match. I had Kamaru Usman, agreed. Done, price, date, rules. Kamaru's side was done. I had to go get George. So I went to George. George did not say no, contrary to popular belief. George said yes. George couldn't agree to the date. And before George will do anything, this won't serve you guys as a surprise, he's going to prepare what he believes adequately. So under the unified rules, EBI, of grappling, George has to go out to the Danaher team. They had moved to Puerto Rico. He had to talk to Coach Danaher. There was the things that he had to do before he could make the date. Now, that is still an ongoing conversation. Before you guys are licking your chops and think about what might have been, we might get St-Pierre and Kamaru Usman. I will testify for you. Neither of them said no, but only Kamaru so far has said yes. So there's a chance that these guys can figure it out. And at some point, you got to live with that. It could be a bake-off. It could be a thumb wrestling match. You could play a game of trivia if that's all that you have. Sure, we would rather that they fought under the unified rules, but if we can't get that, we'll settle for a leg wrestling match if that's all we can get, right? And they will settle it there. Whatever the dispute, it's always the people's court. Every time. You are agreeing that you will live by the decision and settle your dispute here. So it's not completely lost. Now, I'm reaching it. I know that I am. I'm grasping here. I get it. But this is real. This is happening. Kamaru Usman is done. So it's one of those things where how unfair for you guys didn't even know about that. Usman knows everything I'm just saying. Sure, he's never brought it up. He's never one time told the media, I accepted a grappling match against George, and George is yet to come to the table. He could have. He would have gotten major headlines for the story that I just told. He never brought it up. What a man, right? I mean, what an incredible man. George could have told the media, I have been offered this match. I am going to get in there with Kamaru Usman. I'm going to prepare for it. George didn't do it either. He wasn't looking to get himself any headlines off the back of Kamaru. He didn't try to steal any thunder from Usman, who was getting ready to defend the world championship at the Mecca. What a man. Pretty incredible when these guys don't use it. I will tell you, I wouldn't have passed that test. I would not have, in all fairness. If I was offered a fight quietly, I would have made sure you guys knew. Because I would have accepted. I never would have turned any weight, any way you want to do it, all that Bravo stuff, but I really would have done it, and I would have come out and I would have done it in my victory lap. It's one of these things that I want to bring to your attention now. It's one of these topics that isn't out there. I'm never going to get my way. We're never going to get this back and forth between these two. But I wish we did. Kamaru Usman versus George St-Pierre is a very interesting topic. And St-Pierre was the ghost that oversaw that division. Usman, who's now the king, you got the ghost versus the king, and the king is now saying that that is yesterday's news. I think he's right.